But you also have to give when it comes to networking. I think a lot of young people, a lot of young students, young apprentices think that you can't get a mentor, you can't get a coach, you can't get a sponsor because typically you can't give anything. Sometimes as a young person, you have no work to show how good you are. So all you need is people. So you need to have people that are co-signing you. You almost need to have people that are backing you. How do you go about getting those people? Find the initial relationship point with them. Sometimes it's a blessing to start at the middle. Go for that coffee chat with the associate rather than going for the partner, because that partner can tell you this is what I think you should be focusing on. Hey guys, my name is Kwesi Bimpong, one of the co-founders of the Black Apprentice Network. We are the largest apprenticeship community, at least serving for Black students in the UK. So we have over 5,500 members, and today I'm going to be giving you a bit of networking 101. So I was known as Mr. LinkedIn across the university, across the apprenticeship. I was the networker. I wasn't doing enough work, but I was networking. And what I realized in all of my attempts of networking was it wasn't taught to me. It's not that it even came naturally, but I was observant. So I was always watching what people were doing. So I kind of labeled myself, or I got labeled as a chameleon, because I was able to go into different rooms, assimilate, get what I needed, go into another room, assimilate again, and then just carry on repeat until I kind of got what I want. But you also have to give when it comes to networking. I think a lot of young people, a lot of young students, young apprentices think that you can't get a mentor, you can't get a coach, you can't get a sponsor because typically you can't give anything. All it is, or all it feels like is just I'm taking. Especially when it comes into being a black student, we're not going to lie here, corporate isn't majority black. So when it comes into having that almost connection or that initial first impression, or when it comes to wanting to networking with like a partner or MD or just anyone senior, sometimes it feels like you can't because there's nothing to connect on. But I think what I've kind of boiled it down to for the past 4 years that I've been working as a degree apprentice, of course I've graduated now, I do think that people just don't know where to start. And where I think people should start from, what I believe, is defining what the goal is. There's no point turning up to different networking events and having no goal. I do see the notion of just going, you never know who you're going to meet, but we're going to be talking about active networking here. So networking with the intention of achieving the right goal. So whether that is career switching, or via internal mobility, or even just when it comes into moving to a different role, when it comes into getting tasks, because as an apprentice, you want to be staffed on as many tasks as possible. You want to be on as many projects as possible. You want to be getting that recognition. And you can't do that if you don't have a goal. So let's use the goal of getting recognition. You have to understand or validate on the team who is giving that recognition out. Is it the associate? Is it the vice president? Is it the partner? Is it the MD of the division? And in a different episode, I'll break down those titles and those roles and or how they sit in the hierarchy of the corporate world. I do know it's company to company, but I'll go in terms of my company. In my team, at least, my VP, also the VP, vice president of my team, was in charge of it. They fed into the person above them, which is the managing director. They could have fed into another managing director or a partner. This didn't mean that I had to go straight to the partner to almost seek validation or to seek recognition. It meant that I needed to impress the person that was two above me or one above me. So a lot of the time when you're thinking, what is the goal here? Understand who is the one that can actually approve that goal of even happening. So whether the goal is, as I said before, internal mobility, understand who is the one that grants you the access to move internally. Again, in my team, in my company, it was HR. There was no point almost networking with the person sitting next to you because they can't offer help to you. All that was is kind of office politics or office gossip. You think that you're making progress by talking to people, but you're talking to the wrong people. You're not talking to the person that, or the key person of influence in your company. You're not talking to the actual game changer or the decision maker in your company. After you have defined a goal, and as I said, when it comes into defining a goal, be real with yourself. The goal genuinely just might be to meet more people. So that means you have to meet a social butterfly in corporate. And there are people that know so many other people. There are people that get paid to almost pair people up. There are teams that get paid to pair people up so that they can increase their portfolio within the company. And that's what aids promotions. But going back to the whole point, you've defined your goal. Well done. I had a massive goal of moving into a different division or moving into a different business function of my company. So what I had to do was, okay, I found out if I wanted to move, who were the hiring managers in this team? After the hiring managers, I want to find out their managers. Do I have a link? What is the way that I can have a link to almost talking to them? Let's relate this down to just regular life. Let's say you're in school, you want to impress someone. How do you almost find that person's friend, build a relationship with them so that when you want to talk to that person, boy or girl, they could always put in a good word for you? The same thing as in corporate, if not more. Office politics is a thing. I know that we've probably spoken about it on a podcast together, but you have to do it. It's the hard work, but it's the real work. A lot of the time, people always say your network is your net worth. The reason is it's not a direct thing of if you know 1,000 people, you have £1,000. It's the fact that if you know 1,000 people, they may staff you on £10,000 projects, and that adds up. That's why they say your network is your net worth. It's not a direct correlation. It's almost the potential of what your network can give you can directly relate to money. You've defined your goal. Have you found the people? Have you found the right people? How did you determine those were the right people? Every company, I believe every big company at least, has its own CRM, has its own customer or client resource manager, right? This CRM or this database, let's say a database of people, has everyone in the firm, has their name, has their email, has their birthday, probably has their health records, has everything that you need to find out about this person. It's an internal directory. I'm not going to say back in my day that we had yellow pages, but like I remember this big fat book which just had every shop possible, I think across the whole UK. This is all now digital and every company has one. I, for one, went and spent days just scrolling on this CRM. Scrolling on this database, just finding people that I could message. Of course, as black students, you're going to want to message the black person. So for example, let's say you find a black senior person that's working at the company that you want to work for, that's doing the role that you want to do. You want to message them because the initial connection is that person's black. So you think that naturally going to help you. In corporate, I'm not saying it's the case every time, or it's not the case every time, but sometimes that's just not enough. Sometimes being black and having a connection with another black person is just not enough. So once you found the right people, and the way that I find the right people, and the way that you should find the right people, is understanding why is this person a decision maker? If they are a hiring manager, who are they reporting to? Is there a link that you have that can talk to the person that the hiring manager is reporting to? Going back to a real life example, I wanted to go to New York. In my first year of my apprenticeship, I was able to go to New York. This seemed impossible, but the way that it happened was I spoke to the person that was in charge of managing the charity relationship of, so I was going with the Amos Bursary, and Amos Bursary was sponsored by my company. I found out who was in charge of that relationship. I went to that person and said, I'm part of the Amos Bursary. So instantly they were happy because they could see the result of their work has come through or come into fruition via me being at this company. So I knew if I had this person on my side who was pretty senior, I can now go to a different division and say, by the way, this person has co-signed me. Sometimes as a young person, you have no work to show how good you are. So all you need is people. So you need to have people that are co-signing you. You almost need to have people that are backing you. How do you go about getting those people? Find the initial relationship point with them. Some people meet them in the gym because corporates love gym. Some people play paddle with them. Sports is a great place to meet the person. Some people use the employee resource groups. So for example, I used the Christian Fellowship Network at my company. So I wasn't going to pray for the wrong reasons, but I was going to those events and I was also meeting like-minded people that could help me in the future. Going back to the whole New York example, I went to the person that was managing a relationship that had a lot of visibility in the firm. So they almost used me as a case study. So when it came into me going to New York, it wasn't a thing of we can't send apprentices to New York. It was we want to increase this case study. How can you benefit the company but also benefit yourself? People almost think that none of this stuff is transactional and the company should always help you. But you need to make that business case for them. You need to make it crystal clear that this is going to help the business. If you're not doing that, why would they let you move? Why would they let you transition? Like, it does not make sense. Think from a business mind here. So you've done two things. You've defined your goal and you found the people. Now, managing the people, managing the relationship with the people that you found is everything. Because the minute that you start a relationship with someone, you almost need to define how is this relationship going to continue. Is this a high maintenance relationship? It generally does feel like you have a partner in this person. Is this a high maintenance relationship? Is this a low maintenance relationship? We're going to use just realistic examples here, or we're going to use the facts here. Majority of black students, the people that you're going to be networking with, are not going to be black. Majority of the key decision makers, unfortunately, aren't like us. They haven't come from Ghana. They haven't come from Nigeria. They haven't come from Congo. They're not from the Caribbean. We're not there yet. We will get there, but we're not there yet. When it comes into managing that relationship now, you cannot treat them like you've known them from Adam. You can't treat them like they are just your everyday friend from church, from the family barbecues. They operate differently. You have to be a chameleon sometimes. I know some people say bring your authentic self to work. That's important, that's true. But also when it comes into relationships, you can't treat it like they need you. You need them in this case. So when I say that, let's say, so for example, I had a great relationship with this partner. His name was Alex. Me and Alex had nothing in common when it came into our upbringing. He was brought up in a Dutch environment, came from a great family. It's not that I didn't come from a great family, but his family was much more resourced in terms of financial resources. So when it came into working, he almost probably knew everything about it. He was also 40 years older than me. Me and Alex met maybe every 2 months for 1 year. Sometimes as young people, we are too needy. And when I say that, it means that we feel like we lose a relationship by not speaking to them every day. These guys have work. You also have to remember, they are great at managing client relationships. Senior people are great at managing client relationships. So when it comes into the amount of times that you meet them, do not push it. Don't take up time that you don't need to take up. Me and Alex met every lunch. Not every lunch, we met every 2 months for a lunch. That was it, a lunch in his office. He was even working during the lunch. But what that allowed me to do was almost tell him, for the last 2 months, this is what I was doing. I was able to almost have a track record, because if you're meeting up with a partner that's expecting high expectations from you, because they have so much high expectations on themselves, you're saying every week, oh, I haven't done anything since the last week I saw you. I haven't done anything since the last Monday, since the last Tuesday. If you're meeting them all the time, as a junior person, you have not done enough to impress them. So be comfortable with not meeting these senior people all the time. On the flip side, there are some relationships where you kind of do have that work dad. You have that work mum. They want to see you every week. When it comes into those relationships, treat them accordingly. Don't get too complacent. Don't act like, oh, that's my work mum, that's my work dad. I can do whatever I want. Because the minute it gets tough for them, you might feel that. The minute that you start coming 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, 50 minutes late, they're looking at you like you're ungrateful. So you found the people, you defined the roles, you found the people, and now you need to manage those people correctly. Because a lot of the time, when you use them, I'm not saying that they're like a genie, that you can only have one chance, but you cannot be using them every day. You cannot be going to them and saying, I have this problem, I have this problem, I have this problem. They're going to be looking at you like you're the problem. So when I say manage them correctly, or manage your expectations of them correctly, simply it's don't be too needy and don't get complacent. And on the complacency note, it's around comfort. If you're noticing that I'm getting way too comfortable in this scenario or in this situation, check yourself. Because often that's when stuff gets a bit, not in terms of like corporately inappropriate, but it gets very techie when it comes into, I'm giving you this issue and they're now saying, I think that you are the problem in this now. You need them on your side. You need to keep them on your side. But I think if you do those 3 things correctly and you've changed the goal, so whatever the goal is, I want to get on more projects, I want to be able to move to this region, I want to be considered for this job, I think you'll be fine. But the biggest thing, as I said, in the whole network versus network thing, network and net worth, is its levels. I accidentally spent too long of my initial career trying to only talk to people at the top level, forgetting that people at the top level started here. They didn't start at the bottom, like with you. I'm not saying that you're at the bottom, but sometimes go for the people in the middle, because it's churn. It's all like this chain where the people at the top retire, they go to a different company, but the people at the middle are trying to be at the people at the top. Sometimes it's a blessing to start at the middle. Go for that coffee chat with an associate rather than going for the partner, because that partner can tell you this is what I think you should be focusing on. They are too out of touch. They're too gone. They are very clear. The associate will still remember the work that they did as an analyst. So as an apprentice, yes, you might be an analyst. That associate is probably, or the associate or the VP, the junior VP, is probably a great place to start, because they would know the hard work that you're going to do as an analyst, but they would also have great connections to the super senior people. So I think all of those things, especially the last note on starting in the right position when it comes to networking, you'll be fine. And one of the best places to start, if you are struggling to find people that are not being in the same situations as you, or not going to be able to understand your scenarios or the context-based situations, Black Apprentice Network. The reason as to why we started this was to meet more people like us. We felt that we were going into we were going into the same situations at different companies, but we had no one to talk to it on. You now have 5,500 people to talk about it on, and that number is growing. You're going to see us in the university space. You're going to see us in the graduate space. You're going to see us in the alumni space when it comes into alumni apprentices who are super young professionals, but they are way ahead of their peers. You're going to see us in the current apprentice space, the aspiring apprentice space. If you are a young Black professional, let's say between 16 and 23, or even younger, I know that there's some year nines that are going to be listening to this, and there's going to be some 24-year-olds listening to this. We are a great place to start. We're not the end. We're going to get there, but we're a great place to start and launchpad your career with us. When it comes into having more questions, whether it's networking, whether it's how to manage your money, how to meet more people, how to meet more friends, put any question in the comment. Send any question. You have my LinkedIn, you have Ruben Pokey's LinkedIn, you have Elijah's LinkedIn, you have our band LinkedIn or our Black Undergrad LinkedIn. Ask us anything. We're here to answer them. We're not like tied to any organization but ourselves, so we're here for you. So yeah, ring that notification bell. Whether you're seeing this on TikTok, give us a follow, put that comment in, and yeah, like, share, subscribe. Yeah, this is been my episode on networking.